My dear students of class 10, today I am going to explain you about the lesson, the rise of assertive nationalism. My first point is partition of Bengal. Second point, the Swadeshi and boycott movement. Third point, the Surat split. The first point, the partition of Bengal. First point, partition of Bengal. In this lesson, who was the architect of the partition of Bengal? You know, Lord Curzon was the architect of the partition of Bengal. Since there is no picture of Lord Curzon in this book, I collected one picture of Lord Curzon and sent it through still photo for you. Now you recognize him. Who is he? He is Lord Curzon, the architect of the partition of Bengal. Lord Curzon, on reaching India as the Viceroy, decided to weaken the unities between the two communities, the Hindus and Muslims. At that time, Bengal was considered to be the nerve center of Indian nationalism. That's why Lord Curzon desired to crush this new spirit by dividing the politically advanced communities into two provinces. He pointed out that administrative efficiency could have been better secured by separating the Hindi-speaking Bihar and the Oriya-speaking Odisha from the Bengali-speaking part of the province. The partition plan was officially declared on 4th July 1955, but it came into effect on 16th October 1905. Now, next point, the Swadeshi and boycott movement. Why was the Swadeshi and boycott movement started? Now I am going to explain. You know, Congress was divided into two groups, the early nationalists and the assertive nationalists. Early nationalists was there, but early nationalists had their majority in the Congress, in the Indian National Congress. That's why they did not care for any demand of the assertive nationalists. Naturally, assertive nationalists felt insulted, but they remain within the Congress. But at the time when the partition plan was declared, the early nationalists decided to continue Swadeshi and boycott movement within Bengal itself. On the contrary, the assertive nationalists wanted to spread the Swadeshi and boycott movement throughout India. But the early nationalists did not accept it. Naturally, their relationship also was strained. But ultimately, in protest against the partition plan, both the two wings of the Congress, the early nationalists and the assertive nationalists, started the Swadeshi and boycott movement. Now, what is Swadeshi and boycott movement? What is the meaning of Swadeshi? Swadeshi means the goods of India used with a view to promote Indian culture, with a view to highlight the cultural value and moral ethics of the country. This is Swadeshi. And boycott means to ignore use any things or any goods. So Swadeshi means the time when the Swadeshi movement started, the British did not want to accept the demand of both the two wings of the Congress, because they were firmly decided, they firmly decided to divide Bengal into two halves. One half for the East Bengal and another half for the West Bengal. Because what was the clarification of it? Bengal was a large province, that's why it was very hard to administer single-handed. On the contrary, but what was the main intention of the British? To divide, to weaken the unities between the two communities. Swadeshi and boycott movement started. Most of the people of India, they started boycotting foreign goods like usable items, and at the same time, the students of schools, colleges, they also started boycotting foreign papers. Students also started boycotting foreign schools, foreign colleges, professionalists, different, people like doctors, engineers, then advocates, the doctors, they gave up their profession. The legal practitioners, they also gave up their legal practice. By that way, they started boycotting by taking up the program of boycott. And Swadeshi, they wanted to communicate a new message to the people of Britain to make their public opinion to see and understand the miserable conditions of the Indian Swadeshi indigenous industries. Because after the Industrial Revolution, the manufacturing goods of Britain flooded the entire market of India. So the indigenous industries, means Swadeshi industries, also were ruined. And a number of artisans, they lost their jobs. And right that moment, the British Viceroy, Lord Curzon, declared the partition plan. So it was a golden opportunity to avail. That's why both the two wings of the Congress, they started Swadeshi and boycott movement. Now, who were involved in it? Rabindranath Tagore, Surendranath Banerjee, Bipin Chandrapal, Motilal Ghosh, and so on. A number of scholars, educationists, distinguished people, rich people of Bengal, they were involved in Swadeshi and boycott movement. And later on, what was the main aim of that movement? To paralyze the British government, so that British government must realize that their demand, their plan of partitioning Bengal into two halves should be immediately withdrawn. Otherwise, the people of Bengal, they would not accept it. They would keep on continuing revolt, agitation against them, and they would destroy the entire system of administrative machinery. That's why the people of the Swadeshi and boycott leaders, assertive leaders, they made their movement more and more aggressive against the British government. Now, I am teaching you as per the syllabus of ICSE Council, ICSE board. Now, the next point, the Surat. What is the Surat split? Surat was a place where the Surat was session of the Indian National Congress, which was held in the year 1907. In the Surat session of Congress of 1907, the two wings of the Congress was separated because certain causes behind it. But from the very beginning, both the two wings of the Congress and their relationship was strained. The early nationalists did not allow the assertive leaders to accept, to force them to accept their demands, because they had majority, but the assertive leaders had no majority in the National Congress. That's why in the year 1905 of the Benares session of Congress under the presidency of Gopal Krishna Gokhale, their relationship also was strained. But in the Surat session of the Congress, in 1906, in the Calcutta session of Congress, both the moderates and the assertive leaders, their relations, they had no understanding. They did not want to hear each other's views. But that incident came to the extreme point, reached extreme point at the time when the Surat session of the Congress was held in the year 1907. That time, that the assertive leaders left the Congress because the early nationalists suspended the assertive leaders. It was Bal Gangadhar Tilak, along with other assertive leaders, he left the meeting of the short session of the Congress, and they were suspended for 15 years. Till 1915, they remained outside the Congress. But that flip was over when another session of the Congress in the year 1916. Later on, we shall teach you. That was 1916. That another Congress, Pune session of the Congress was held. That time, both the two wings of the Congress also was joined. But now today's discussion is over. Now you keep on studying. If you have any confusion regarding this matter, ask me later. I shall clarify the class. Thank you.